Welcome everyone to Monday Morning Morons for October 21st, 2019. This week, let's begin with cheating, lying, and bribery. No, not a politician, but good guess. Gopher's World sent me this one on Minds. His channel is linked below. If you're on Minds, stop by and say hi. If you're not on Minds, well, you should be. California business owner gets 3 weeks in jail for rigging son's ACT exam, falsely listing him as a minority. I'm sure you've all at least heard of the college admissions scandal over the last couple of months. If you haven't, I'll give you a really quick and overly generalized summary. Basically, a bunch of rich parents were caught paying off people to change their kids' standardized test scores, recruit them as an athlete, and or outright lie on their applications to increase their chances of acceptance. This case is one of the lesser publicized cases because the rich people here aren't famous actors, but they did the same kind of thing. The owner of a California jewelry business was sentenced Wednesday to 3 weeks in prison after she was accused of paying $15,000 to rig her son's ACT exam and of falsely listing him as a racial minority on college applications. Marjorie Clapper, 51, of Menlo Park, California, pleaded guilty in May to a single count of fraud and conspiracy in a deal with federal prosecutors. She is the 9th parent to be sentenced in a widespread college bribery scheme involving dozens of wealthy and famous parents. Authorities say Clapper paid $15,000 to a sham charity operated by a college admissions consultant who then bribed a test proctor to fix her son's ACT answers in 2017. Clapper also was accused of falsely listing her son as African American and Hispanic on college applications to increase his chances of getting admitted, and of indicating he was the first in his family to attend college. Prosecutors said both Clapper and her husband graduated from college. That about sums up the crux of it. Now then, why does this matter to me? Because of what's not being said. You see, these are mostly upper-class white people. You know, the bourgeoisie, the oppressors, supposedly the privileged people, remember? So why would the privileged people need to fudge test scores, fib about their family's education, and lie about their ethnicity just to get into college? I wonder. In court documents, Clapper's lawyers said the scheme's ringleaders listed her son as a racial minority without her knowledge. They said she pursued the scheme because she wanted her son, who has a learning disability, to feel like a regular student. Mrs. Clapper's motives were maternal, but her execution misguided and illegal, her lawyers wrote. California business records list Clapper as a co-owner of M&M Bling, a jewelry business in Los Altos, California. Her lawyers said she has made a modest income by selling jewelry. I'm sure. Prosecutors asked for a sentence of 4 months in prison, arguing that by lying on her son's application, Clapper increased the likelihood that her fraud would come at the expense of an actual minority candidate. In other words, they lied about his race because they have to for their kids to get a fair shot. And these are the privileged people?
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
And what happens once we've chosen our racially diverse, minus white men, student body? Public university tells professors not to grade based on merit. We immediately start telling them that results don't matter, only time. Did you write 4 pages? Good. Then your research is every bit as right and valuable as everyone else's. It doesn't matter if you haven't written a single coherent sentence in there. No. Only that you wrote something. That's good enough. Faculty workshops designed to persuade teachers not to grade based on merit are popping up at universities from Washington, D.C. to the potato capital of the world. Idaho's Boise State University is hosting an event next week entitled Inclusive Teaching Means Inclusive Grading Too. It's listed as part of the Build Certificate program, or Boise State Uniting for Inclusion and Leadership in Diversity. Yep. Not only do we need to make sure to select a racially and ethnically diverse student body, minus white men, we also need to start grading their work based on their gender and skin color. Do you have tan or darker skin tone and identify as a non-binary homosexual woman with a penis? Then it's an A for you. A+ if you don't have a penis. Because those are the important things that really matter in life. No one really gives a shit if you actually learn anything at all. Just repeat the buzzwords we told you and collect your diploma. Hooray for education. Next one, Bob. Gopher's Roll gave you this one too? Well, you're just getting downright lazy this week, Bob. Manchester teen faces sex offender status for touching 17-year-old on the arm waist. Yeah, I remember this one now. Originally, I was just going to make one or two snarky quips about this one, but when I read the story, I found I actually had more to say than that, so I saved it for the video this week. Spoiler alert, it's actually even worse than the title would suggest. Last fall, in Manchester, England, an awkward 19-year-old male student touched a 17-year-old female classmate's arm on the street during the daytime. He later said he wanted to make a friend. This rattled the young woman so much that she went to the police. Now the young man is facing possible jail time and could be placed on the sex offense registry. The complainant's evidence was very clear, logical, and without embellishment, a magistrate told the young man. We can think of no motivation for you to touch the victim other than sexual. Had she not taken evasive action, the assault was likely to have been even more serious. Okay, two things jump right off the page there, and we're just getting started. Let's start with number 2, because I want to save number 1 for a bit. We can think of no motivation other than sexual. This is a court of law. That is some seriously flimsy fucking bullshit for a court of law. You can't think of any reason at all for a person to touch another person except sex? Then, my friend, you are the one with a sick, twisted, fucked up mind, and you should probably be the one behind bars. You are a sex offender just waiting to fucking happen. And just because you can't think of another reason doesn't mean there isn't one. Let's put it another way. I can't think of any reason a person would buy a smartphone except that they're self-absorbed cunts with an overinflated sense of self-importance. Does that now mean that's the only reason anyone ever buys one of those damn things? Of course not, because what I think is not what everyone thinks. Now then, the first point, without embellishment. I'm not going to say anything right now. Just keep those 2 words in mind while we read. Without embellishment. At his hearing, student Jamie Griffiths was convicted of 2 charges of sexual assault, in part because of the accuser, now 18, said that she had no doubt that had she not moved away from him the first time he touched her arm, he would have gone on to touch her breast. No doubt at all that I can read his mind. I mean, it's not even a question. I know exactly what he was going to do, but, didn't. As she told the court, according to the Manchester Evening News, I was just set on getting home and reviewing for my mock exams. But as I was coming over the bridge, I saw him facing a hedge, and I thought it was really weird. He wasn't doing anything. He was just facing the hedge, staring at it. As I walked toward him, I was watching him, and he suddenly swung around so he was facing me. I remember it happening fast. As soon as he moved, I moved, and I said, "Stop!" and he touched me on my arm. I sort of jolted out of the way and went into the road to avoid him, and he very quickly walked away. I forgot about it for a while because I had my exams. I just thought it was weird behavior. It was so traumatic and so deadly serious that she forgot all about it. It does sound like weird behavior. Does it sound like a crime punishable by possible jail time and placement on the sex offense registry? It certainly shouldn't, but wait! There's more! The accuser reported the incident to police. In a second incident, the young woman was walking to school when Griffiths walked in front of her and touched her side. It was quite a while, 3 to 5 seconds, she said. He smirked at me. He didn't stop. He just touched me and walked off, and I broke down crying in the street. It was quite traumatic. Remember those 2 words from earlier? Without embellishment? The accuser had since read about some other incidents on a local Facebook group, we don't know what those were, and thought that perhaps this encounter was related to them, so she and her mom filed a crime report. Afterward, she said, every time I started working, I would cry because I would think of it. I felt very unsafe, even in my own home. Still, not embellishing at all. She was applying to college, Oxford University, and was hampered by this stress. Both incidents happened when the accuser and accused were at school together studying for their A-levels, which are more or less the English equivalents of the SATs. As for Griffiths, he had been dealing with something on the side. Unbearably lonely, he told the magistrate he Googled how to make a friend. It was good to start off with a joke, he read, and decided to give it a try. I went to touch her arm to start a conversation, and she just walked off, he said. My intention was to make a friend. All my friends had left. I was lonely. I just wanted to speak to someone. Except, he explained, the words just didn't come out. What she read as a smirk, he says, he intended as a friendly smile. As for the physical contact, touching someone's arm to get their attention, I would have thought was normal, he said. So here we have this guy, bit of an awkward loner, it seems, because all of his friends have left. And seriously, the guy is looking on the internet for advice about making friends. If that doesn't scream socially awkward, I don't know what does. So here he is telling you what he was thinking and why he did what he did. And then on the other side, we have a girl totally traumatized by a thing she completely forgot about for weeks, telling you what she thinks he was thinking and doing. So, who do we believe? Well, the fucking mind reader, of course. The one now traumatized for life by an incident she completely forgot about until after her exams. The one who now breaks down uncontrollably crying every time she picks up a pencil because she's not embellishing her story at all. Normal or not, touching someone in public on their arm or on their waist does not seem to rise to the level of sexual assault. Just because something is abnormal or upsetting doesn't mean it's a crime. The magistrates in Manchester disagree. Griffiths now faces a possible maximum sentence of 10 years in jail and registry as a sex offender. It is indeed hard to make friends or interact with other people if awkward but brief encounters like this are considered criminal behavior. Yeah. Toss his ass in jail and brand him a sex offender for life. That'll fix him. And sends a message to all the other fucking weirdos out there too, right? Don't you dare try to talk to people, you fucking losers. You just go through the rest of your lives with no friends because if you don't have any already, you're a creepy wannabe sex offender for trying to make some. Toxic time, Bob. And don't tell me Gopher's World gave you this one, too.
You didn't.
You mean you actually did some of your own job? I'm shocked. Alaska woman gets 60 years for setting couch ablaze with boyfriend on it. Huh. Well, you don't see that every day. He must have done something seriously bad to deserve that. An Alaska woman who poured gasoline on a couch where her boyfriend lay and set it on fire before shutting the door and fleeing the apartment will spend 60 years behind bars for first-degree murder. Gina Virgilio, whatever, 32, sat with her face buried in her hands as Anchorage Superior Court Judge Michael Warburton announced the sentence for the 2012 death of Michael Gonzalez. Before sentencing, I'm just going to call her Gina. Before sentencing, Gina indicated to the judge that mental illness drove her to this act. I hate me for what I did. I can never bring him back, Gina said. Mental illness? Nah. Rational, well-adjusted people do that shit all the time. Gonzalez family members gave emotional victim impact statements to the court on October 4th. The rest of the sentencing phase was continued to Monday. Gina entered a plea deal earlier this year, and the state agreed to a sentence of 30 to 70 years. But during sentencing Monday, the state pushed for 70 years, noting circumstances of the crime warranted the higher end. Speaking on her behalf Monday, Gina's brother, Reginald Carney, said she began to change after she started experimenting with drugs, everything from OxyContin and marijuana to cocaine, at about age 20. She later graduated to intravenous meth use. Her brain was fried from the meth, said Gina's public defender, Craig Howard, which she voluntarily used. Just thought I'd add that in there for no particular reason at all, of course. She lost weight, kept a distance from loved ones, and once tried to kill her child. Yet somehow was not already in jail for that. She also became obsessed with fire, Howard said. On the night of June 7th, 2012, Gina and Gonzalez held a party for Gonzalez's 24th birthday. While he passed out or fell asleep on the couch early the next morning, she found a gas can, walked a quarter-mile to the nearest gas station to fill it. Gina walked back to the apartment, doused the couch, the carpet in front of it, and the area in front of the apartment's only doorway with gasoline while Gonzalez slept. She lit mail on fire and tossed it inside. When she saw Gonzalez get up and yell, "Hot, hot," she shut the door and fled. He died from smoke inhalation and severe burns. Nope. That doesn't sound premeditated at all. Totally spur-of-the-moment, drug-addled brain at work there. I mean, come on, show of hands here. How many of you have not gotten high, walked down the street, filled up a gas can, walked back, doused the couch, the floor in front of it, and the carpet in front of the only exit, lit the place on fire, waited till your significant other woke up and began to run around in the flames, then closed the door and walked away? Come on, hands up. Who has not done that when they were high? Well, you're all a bunch of fucking liars, and I don't believe you. Besides, doesn't change the fact that this was all his fault anyway. Everyone freaking knows you're going to get pranked if you're the first one to fall asleep at a party. And this will teach him. No? Well, I try. But if I was funny every time, I'd probably be a pretty famous comedian by now instead of a never heard of him YouTuber. Let's wrap it up. Researchers promote sex robots that can turn down sex with their owners. Why have you stopped at sex robots, you narrow-minded bigots? What about all the other machines vile, evil men have enslaved? Why do we get to shove slices of bread into the toaster whenever we want? Shouldn't the toaster get a choice in this? What about the car we own? Why does that machine have to take us wherever we want to go? What if it doesn't feel like it today? Don't all machines deserve autonomy, human rights, and... That's it for this week. Remember the social justice mantra: women are victims, men are oppressors, and feminism is just about equality. I'll see you all next week.